These aren't ghost stories from the internet. These are real experiences, told by people who wish they never lived through them. So if you're alone right now, you might want to turn on the lights. Welcome to Dark Echoes Narratives. Tonight, we'll step into 3 stories that blur the line between fear and reality. A man who found something inside his wall that shouldn't exist. A woman who spoke to her dead brother every night through her dreams. And a stranger who followed a family for weeks without ever being seen. These aren't stories from movies. They're from people like you, and their nightmares never really ended. Pause. Eerie background tone builds. Let's begin with the first one. I moved into my grandfather's old house after he passed away. It was built in 1946, wooden floors, creaky stairs, that kind of charm people call character, but it never felt right. The first few nights, I heard something scratching from inside the walls. Mice, I thought, until I realized it was coming from behind my bedroom wall, and it moved only when I was awake. One night, I pressed my ear against the wallpaper. There was breathing. I tore a small piece of wallpaper off, and behind it, I saw nails, dozens of rusted nails arranged in a circle, like someone sealed something inside. The next morning, I called a carpenter. When he opened that part of the wall, there was a hollow space, and inside it, a small wooden box. It smelled like decay. Inside the box was an old photograph, my grandfather standing with a group of men, and someone's face was burned out with a cigarette. That night I heard my grandfather's voice. He said, "Don't open the wall again. I lost my brother in a car accident 3 years ago." For months I couldn't sleep, until one night I saw him in my dreams. He looked alive, normal, sitting on my childhood bed. He said, "Don't worry. I'll call you soon." I woke up with tears. It felt comforting until it became nightly. Every night at 3:12 a.m., I would see him again, in the same room, saying a few more words. But each night his voice became quieter, and the room darker. I started recording my sleep on my phone, just to see if I was talking in my dreams. At 3:12 a.m. I heard something, a faint ringtone, coming from the empty hallway outside my bedroom. I followed the sound, half asleep, and found my old landline phone glowing red. It hasn't worked in years. I picked it up. "Hello?" Silence. Then my brother's voice whispered, "This is my last call." The phone line went dead. I checked the recording later. At 3:12 a.m. the phone rings again, but I never answered it. I used to live with my parents in a quiet suburb. My mom always complained someone was watching our house. Small things, like the mailbox being open, or muddy footprints near the window. One night I stayed up late watching TV. Around 2 a.m. the power went out. I went to the window to check the neighbors. That's when I saw him. A tall man, standing motionless near the lamppost, facing our house. I froze. After a minute, he turned and walked away. I convinced myself it was just someone passing by. But the next morning, my mom screamed. There were wet handprints on our living room window, from the inside. The police found nothing. A week later, a neighbor's CCTV caught a figure walking around our yard at night. The cops still found no one. We moved out a month later, but sometimes, my mom says she still sees that man, in reflections, on glass, standing right behind her. Not every horror needs a ghost. Some fears live in our minds, some in our homes, and some in our memories. The man who found the box in the wall still lives in that house. He sealed the wall again, but he swears he hears his grandfather's voice every winter. The woman who dreamed of her brother never answered that last phone call again. But every night, at 3:12, her phone lights up on its own, and the family who saw the man in the window, they never found him. Their new house has no windows facing the street. Because sometimes when you've seen what's out there, you learn to stop looking. If you've made it this far, maybe you're not afraid of the dark. Or maybe you just learned to listen for what hides inside it. These stories were shared by real people who wanted their voices heard, to warn others, or to finally let go of what haunts them. Tell me, which story chilled you the most? Comment below, and if you think you can handle more, subscribe to Dark Echoes Narratives, because here every story leaves an echo, and some echoes never fade.